Okay, here's a quick thought. I know it's close to the end of the week. Something on Nasso, but it's actually from the Haftarah Nasso. So, but I think there's a tie-in. So, if you give me a chance, I'll try to tie it all in. So, with the word from Rabbi Zweig from the Rosh Yeshiva, basically. So the question that bothered me when looking through the Haftarah, which is something that probably bothers a lot of people, is that Shimshon's mother, Noach's wife, is not mentioned by name throughout the entire Haftarah, throughout the whole parsha over there. It never mentions her name. In the Gemara in Basra, it mentions that her name was actually Zophoni, right, or Sophonis, or it's however you want to pronounce it. But in the actual Tanakh, it doesn't mention her name. It just keeps on referring it to Manoach's, the wife, or Isha, or Ishto, or Isha, the woman. There are several different ways she's described, but never by name. Even in certain chazals, when they list the women who are neviot, not neviot, the women who are karas that are mentioned, that the fact that they were barren, she's mentioned as Manoach's wife. So the basic question you have to ask is, why isn't her name not mentioned? Not even once as an introduction. We know Penina, we know about all the other people who are karas. So why isn't she not mentioned by name? So it could be like this. And there's another interesting point that there's a medrash that says that Manoach had a relationship with somebody who we just were talking about, with Boaz. Boaz was the shofet Ifsan, and it says that Ifsan had 60 children, and he had 30 boys and 30 girls, made 60 chasanas, and each chasana he made 2 sudos, he made 120 sudos, and for all those 120 sudos, he did not invite Manoach to any of the sudos. Why? Because Manoach didn't have any children, and he reasoned, how can he repay me? Therefore, I'm not going to invite him. Which is a question on in itself: is what is Boaz Ifsan not inviting Manoach to any of the parties just because he didn't have kids? It's so out of character that this is the grandfather of David HaMelech, the shofet who brought peace by saying, he taught everybody to say Shalom Aleichem, bring on Hashem's name. It has to have a deeper hesed, but that's not really what we're going to focus on. As a punishment, though, he did lose. All his children died during his lifetime, and not only that, we know that his wife died, and until Ruth came along and kind of almost saved Boaz, where they had from him, where they had a child, Oved, and then Oved had Yishai, and Yishai had David, etc. We know that. So that's a different vort, different day. But there's a connection between Manoach and Rus and Melech Mashiach and a Goel and all that, which Shimshon also is a Shigla Goel. So Chazal do tell us also that their mother, that's where the connection is from the Shevet of Yehuda. So she's part of the family, and therefore there is a relationship. Could be that they were aristocratic Manoach's wife, who's unnamed, and the tribe of Yehuda and Boaz's family and all that, and it seemed like it's somebody who would be together, and therefore it was noticeable that they were dissed, so to speak, at the wedding. So that's sort of the question is, what's going on over here? Why is she not mentioned? And you see, they say that in comparison to her, Manoach was a Amaretz, that there are things that pointed out, and that the Malach spoke to her, and spoke to her again when they prayed. And if you read the thing, it's like she's the center over here, but an unnamed center. So the Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Zweig, explains in the Parsha, the Smichos of Parshios, that people talk about that why the Gemara mentions why Nazir and Sota are next to each other is that if you see a Sota in a Kikula, you then have to go and become a Nazir. But the Parsha that precedes the Parsha of Sota is the Parsha of Trumas and Meisers, going to that somebody holding back, not giving the proper Truma Meiser to the Kohen. And over there, Chazal tell us that the fact that he withheld the Truma Meiser, and not from the Goyen, Hashem is going to force him to the Kohen because his wife is going to become a Sota, and he's going to have to force her to go over to bring her for the Sota. So you see that there is a connection between Kohanim, the Sota, and then Nazir in the Trumas Meiser. So we see Shimshon is a Nazir. There's some concept of Sota that's in between, and there's also a Kohen kind of thing. So he explains over there. He says that it's interesting that the reason why somebody is tight-fisted and held back the Trumas and Meiser and didn't go to the Kohen, but forces the Kohen to come to him maybe, or other things like that, is that a person is ruling his house or trying to have control. The idea of Trumas and Meiser means lack of control. Somebody else is telling you what to do with your money. Nobody likes to be told what to do with their money or what to do with their possessions. Being told what to do creates a thing. And it could be that was the person, the individual's midah that forces him to withhold that and take and begrudgingly not give the proper amount to the Kohen. Therefore, if somebody's ruling their house in that kind of hold, where they have that kind of controlling, it may cause a wife to go out, and therefore the rules and things like that. It may create an atmosphere that's warranted to that sort of that sort of situation, where it would cause her to either actually become a sota or even just be looking for solace somewhere else and maybe speaking to somebody, even though if anything nothing happened, speaking to somebody where the husband is warning her off not to tell her, and then creates that scenario where he's doing it. So he's almost creating the environment, the midah connected midah of Hashem sending him to, not sending that I'm going to force this. He created the situation by, that's the attitude. That's what the smichas of Parshas are really coming to believe. That's what I understand the Rosh Yeshiva is for. With this said, it could be implied a little bit to Manoach. There seems to be something going on over here that she may have been much brighter than him. She may have been much more learned than him. She comes from a more chashuv family. She comes from Yehuda. He only comes from Dan. And therefore that there was something that for a domination going on here, that he was trying to dominate her. And therefore the Navi is trying to show that even in this situation of domination, but because of the schus, he was a great tzaddik. Again, we're talking Ishei Tanakh over here. We're not trying to minimize it on that way. He created that atmosphere where it was trying to create a certain domination. So therefore, his wife didn't have a name. However, even without her name being mentioned, still Hashem chose to send the malach to her. Told us, and again, gave her the instructions for her. She was the one who kept him on focus and trying to be another. The mother has the most influence, especially on a young child, especially in situations like things like that. Not eating something, and it takes a lot of effort, more on the mother than the father. You see that it was her mission, so more so than the Manoach's mission to do it, to bring it out. And even later on in the story, that's not mentioned in the Torah, where the wife is pointing out things that are saying that, oh, I'm worried about this. They're not happy about. They didn't understand Shimshon's modus operandi, and she was the one who was bringing up questions with it. So it could be is that it's showing that there was a certain dynamic over here, that there was a certain amount of trying to take control, and this could have been maybe because part of Shimshon's downfall in the end is that his resistance to do, he as he said, the downfall is that she seems appropriate in my eyes, or she's good in my eyes. He uses that word of eyes. Followed his eyes. The Mishnah says that midah connected midah, that therefore he lost his eyes, and therefore that's where the downfall was. It could be coming from those are the manoach aspects of him, of trying to control and not being, not letting somebody else know. So it was an interesting thought. Went longer than I thought. Hopefully you'll like it.